Wellness begins where play, pleasure, and the parasympathetic meet. You were born to be you, and you were born to be well. Your body is always trying to find its way back to health. Now, here is the host of Your Healing Playground with Dr. Tina Coopersmith.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are in the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am your host, your witchy doctor, your change advocate, and we are on the Inspired Choices Network trying to inspire people to live better lives. Better, I don't even like to use the word better, but their best lives, right? And today I'm so excited because I have with me Sarah Tacy. And we are going to talk about healing from her specialty, her vantage point, her amazing brilliance, which is the nervous system. And she is a nervous system and somatic specialist, and she's about regulation, she's about resonance, and I'm going to ask her more to actually help us understand and unpack the difference between regulation and resonance. But she is brilliant. She is a guide for high achieving women. She's also taking care of elite Olympic athletes. She was an athlete herself, and she really wants to make sure people are not living with burnout. They can be ambitious, but from a place of calm and excitement probably, but not with burnout. She helps her clients really move from urgency to choice. And I'll tell you, I've been in her spaces, and she really works magic for people, helping them get from survival patterns to deep self-trust, to really live at the human pace that works for their nervous system, where vitality, clarity, and mystery can coexist. She's, as I said, she's worked with Olympians, athletes, entrepreneurs, just so many brilliant people. And today she gets to work with us and tell us all about it. She blends neuroscience, somatic healing, and sacred strategy. She helps women reclaim wholeness. She has a program called Resourced. I think her new one is called Juiced, and we're going to learn all about it. So, Sarah, all I can say is welcome. So excited you were able to find the time to be with me today. In, my podcast, we talk about Your Healing Playground, and I play with everyone's journey is unique. Everyone has something to heal during their lifetime, and ideally we're doing it through play. You're a former athlete. Tell us a little bit about how you merge being an athlete, an entrepreneur, and the nervous system, somaticism, somatic healing. Tell us a little bit about you and how we got you to who you are today.
Yeah, well, first, thank you so much for having me. That was an amazing intro. I appreciate the weaving that you do. I got into this world because I was an athlete and I played lacrosse in college, and I really wanted to be the best student I could be. I wanted to be the best athlete I could be. And I really thought that my body was just a vehicle to get me to where I wanted to go. And when I got injured or when I got sick, I didn't see it as a sign. I saw it as an inconvenience. And eventually I had enough injuries, and it wasn't just enough. I accumulated many injuries, but it was when my back went out at 18, where there was no pushing through. There was no being stronger or playing when the doctor said don't play. And then suddenly I am thinking that I'm like more worthy because I'm more tough.
Yeah, you can push through.
You can push through, but
Push
with a
through the
back
pain. I've been
injury,
there,
that
done
is
that.
when,
Yep.
the nerves start going crazy. My body would get frozen in certain positions, and there was no way through. And, except to be with the discomfort that was. Um, and yeah, I mean, I lost everything I identified with, right? It's like
Mm.
suddenly I was in so much pain that it was hard to read for school, right? I couldn't sit. On the lacrosse field, I had teammates have to bring like a reclining chair out because being
Mhm.
upright, right? So it was a long process back. And in that process, I eventually found my way to yoga and breathing and visualization and energy medicine because I had seen the doctors, I had done the PT, um, and I was still in a world of pain.
Yeah.
And and through this process, I really began to understand that our bodies are our no BS GPS.
Yeah, I
So as
love
much
that
as our
statement.
mind can be like, I'm gonna push through, our bodies are gonna say, that's cute. Actually, I need a break and I need a rest. And part of the work that I did this past year, right before my program resource, was a program called Opting Out of Urgency.
Hmm.
Because what so many of us do, whether professional athletes, whether entrepreneurs, almost anyone living in a
Modern
Western,
society.
modern society, is running under a state of urgency. And on a nervous system map, what that looks like, if you can imagine that there's a range that could be slow, medium, or fast, where you have agency and you have choice. Above that, where we go into hyper, where there's more fight or flight energy, if we stay in that constantly, where there's I must, I can, and therefore I will forever. And if I slow down, I feel like I'm going to die, right? Like slow
Mhm.
feels like death.
Yeah.
Um, the way that works on the nervous system chart, I won't map out the whole thing, but it's level 6. And it generally goes that you go at that place until an injury or a major life event happens, and there's collapse, which you named as burnout, which is one form of the collapse. And so my inquiry for many is like, well, how can we still be ambitious people who have dreams, but try to stay within our range of resonance and try to
Yeah.
notice when we're outside of that range? And this is
Yeah.
just something I'm very interested in and seems to be some potent work for many of us to engage with.
I think this is critical healing work for our society in general, on a society level. When you think about the information overload of how much information is coming at us all at once and all the dopamine hits that are fake. I mean, they're not fake, but they're not for our benefit, right? They're being designed externally. We're all vibrating at the wrong frequency. They even say something happened in the 1930s that they changed the frequency of church bells and that there was a shift in the resonance of human nature. And I don't know enough about it, but it was interesting of we're not resonating with the earth's natural vibration anymore, right? And so this is not just individual humans, this is collective society. Animals are getting confused in Kenya and Tanzania. They're not doing their migrations at the right time. I mean, and that affects their pregnancies and all this stuff. But well, that's an aside.
So what's
So
interesting about that, if we were to talk about difference in frequency and speed and pace, is that the pace of our body is generally slower than the pace of our mind. And so
mm,
if we're always going at the pace of our mind, which can speed into the future, like what, oh, I gotta get this done, I need to
yeah,
do that, and what
yeah,
about this? And I dream of this someday. And oh my God, in the past I made this mistake, or maybe as I did this great thing. The body is slower. And so, as you know from some of the group sessions we've done, or when I work with Relax Money, I speak really slow during those sessions. And
beautiful.
I speak slowly on purpose. And people in the comments on the side, some of them will be like, oh, this is so activating. And others will be like, I feel so calm. And then a good handful will also be like, why am I crying? And it's not the content. It's that when we slow down, what is so scary about slowing down is that it gives us space to feel.
Yeah,
So we start feeling the wisdom of our body. And there can be a feeling of forever. If I slow down, then I'm going to nap and watch Netflix forever. Then I'm going to be sad forever. My grief will consume me. My, people might call it laziness, but it's actually everything is tidal, right? So we can slow down and there can be a wave. And when we don't have to suppress that energy, we will actually have more energy so that we are working more from a well that is overflowing
yeah,
instead of like doing the dry well. I call it dry well syndrome, where it's like we all have dry wells and therefore we don't want to ask for help from anyone because they also have a dry well. And it's like everyone's a dry well, so we have to all do it on our own. And the more that we can find little places of pleasure, little places of resonance, the more our wells start to overflow, and we can also start to become more a part of a community. We can see where we can help others, where others can help us, but it requires generally a slowing down. And I am, we'll get into resonance versus regulation and speed and calm versus uh, juicy. We can talk about all those things. That it's not just about going slow, but it is about broadening our range to include it.
I love that. So as long as you brought it up, why don't you give us a hint of, people think it's an on-off switch, right? You're either in fight or flight or you're in rest and digest, right? And you're right, it's a range. So explain a little bit more about regulation, resonance, and range. Those are great little three little words. I like that.
I know, I know. Um, I'm trying to think. I think I had this tagline that I used this summer that was like, um, less rush, more range, fully human.
Oh, yeah.
And so first I'll talk about the on-off switch. It is the easiest way. Sometimes humans just love categories, right? It just makes it easy. Like you're sympathetic and everybody, we want to be parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is great. It's slow. It's calm. It can also be, we can move into a freeze from there. But
Right.
the sympathetic is also like if you think about mountain biking or somebody in the courtroom, or Tina, when you're doing your work, there's got to be this balance between being present in your body, but enough stimulation that your
Right.
mind is focused
You
and
want the flow
like
state.
lasered in, right? And so there needs to be a balance between the two. And I thought this was just so amazing when I realized that we can have healthy slow, we can have healthy medium, we can have healthy fast. If someone has had a traumatic experience in which they felt helpless, isolated, and alone in their recovery from it, in one of those ranges, it might be like slow is never safe or fast is never safe. So their range gets
Mm. Well, that's interesting that the trauma can it actually affects the range, not just the actual trauma.
correct.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more than just
So
the story and the freeze or whatever. It's
yeah.
literally the contraction of the nervous system.
Yes. Like there's
Mm,
only a certain
fascinating.
range and a certain pace that you feel safe in. And that could be fine. I know people in my life who their range, it has to be fast, or if they're going to slow down, it has to have intensity.
Yeah, interesting.
An example of this would be like, um, if they're not going fast, then if they're slowing down, then maybe they're a hunter who has to like really be tracking and be like pay attention to everything, or they're surfing, so they really have to like pay attention to this big wave that's coming, right? Like there's some adrenaline in it. So it's great, and life happens at a bunch of different paces. For example, connecting with elders or connecting with children, they're going to want a different pace. And the more that we can expand our range, the more the more varied our experiences of life can be, the people we can connect with, the things that
Mhm.
can bring us joy. So it's not like I have to do this one thing to feel okay. It's like we have more range and we can experience more of life, and joy is more accessible from more places and more situations.
I love that. I love that. Joy is accessible from more places when you have a bigger range. That is a perfect segue to our first little break. Joy, go get your morning coffee or your afternoon snack. Come right back. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and today we have with us Sarah Tacy. Come right back so you can learn so much more about getting resourced and regulated. Let's go.
Your Healing Playground is the space where science, spirit, and sensation dance together. Your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith, physician, coach, healer, and play advocate, returns weekly to remind you that healing isn't just about pills and protocols. Western medicine is just one of many healing modalities. True wellness is about energy, emotion, pleasure, and play. On this show, Dr. Tina explores the playground of your body, mind, heart, and soul. From neuroscience to sensuality, from root chakra to real talk. She'll share tools, stories, and soulful strategies to shift you out of fear and back into joy. Because if you're alive and breathing, your story is still unwritten, and you deserve to write it with love. Together, you'll learn to breathe, feel, and play your way back to wellness, because you are your best healer.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Your Healing Playground with Dr. Tina Coopersmith. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to info@womensreproduction.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back, my friends. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith, your host. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. Today we have with us Sarah Tacy. She's specialist in nervous system resonance, regulation, and really getting you out of burnout to celebrate your life. If you're enjoying the podcast, please, please, please share it with your friends, subscribe, give us a 5-star review on iTunes. You know, the world needs this information. We're really all spinning out of control, and I want us all to be healthy. That's really why I'm here every day, every week. So please, please, please share with your friends if you enjoy this. And let's keep asking Sarah to share her wisdom with us, because she literally is wise, and at such a young age compared to me. It took me many more years to get wise. So tell me, I love what you talk about, having a range, different speeds, but you talk a lot about opting out of urgency. And that's so, as someone who has gone through life at one very fast speed, and I'm just learning to dial in new speeds, right? Talk to our audience about urgency and opting out of urgency, because it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, so in the fall, I run a 3-day free course called Opting Out of Urgency. And the idea is that when we look at that chart, one thing is like, oh my gosh, there I am, level 6. It's called Global High Intensity Activation, and also could just be called urgency. And when we say, well, then how do we get back into our range of regulation, our range of resonance? It's really quite amazing that a 2-second or maybe like a 30-second tool or a 20-minute activity could draw you back into a place where you feel safe in your body. And the most amazing thing about this is that the to-do list you have, when you come back to it, it will feel different.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I can run your audience through one of my favorite regulation tools. Maybe we'll do 2 or 3.
Oh, cool.
And I also want to give a little story about this urgency agency thing. I was at my friend's retreat this past summer, and I woke up in the middle of the night because I was prepping for opting out of urgency. We had 2,300 people sign up for it.
Whoa.
And I was just like, oh, Oh my gosh, I think I'm feeling urgency about opting out of urgency. And I have this whole, like, I'm going to redo a whole website. I have 23 newsletters to get out. I have 25 affiliates. I have, like, it was on and on, like, all these things I need to get done. And why am I at this retreat? I was like supporting my friend um, and I got up and, well, first I'll say, first I tried to calm myself. I put my hands on my heart. It's something we'll all do together in a second. And I was breathing and breathing into my belly. And it didn't necessarily change my state. And so, what I'll get into later is this idea that sometimes our bodies want to be calmed, but sometimes they want to discharge any energy. And
Yeah.
if my body is wise, then my body is telling me, like, get up and move this energy. So it's 2:30 in the morning. I had a roommate. I had to go out into my car. It was raining. And I'm journaling. And
Oh,
you know, the middle of the night journaling where you're like, is this delirious or is this genius? And
yeah.
I'm going, urgency, agency, emergency. And I'm seeing the Gen Z at the back of it. And I looked it up. There's nothing to back this up. But I'm like, that seems to give the word a sense of doom. Like to emerge without the Gen Z is to emerge. But when you have emergency, it's like, oh shit, like something bad could happen.
Right.
We got to get this. And the same with like to have an urge, it's an impulse, but the Gen Z makes it time bound.
Uh-huh.
And agency is, of course, without the Gen Z. The A is without. So I'm leaning into this more and more. And I'm like, but I think there's something really beautiful that I have a timeline. There's something. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I don't want people to think that if we opt out of urgency, we opt out of life, or we opt out of urgency. Therefore, you know what? Timelines don't work for me. I
Right.
do have the permission and many times to say I'm going to change the launch date. But on this one, I was like, I'm very specific about why I'm running this when I am. And now the agency I have within the urgency is now I have choice. Now I'm going to say no to these things and yes to these things. I'm going to be at this retreat, but I'm not going to go to all the talks. I'm going to write in a yurt during the day. And then when there was a breath work portion, I went out and I did the breath work. And then there was a skinny dip after that, and I did that. And so I go and I do the breath work and I do the skinny dip and I come back and suddenly my to-do list that externally has not changed goes from totally overwhelming. So when you're in urgency, most things feel
Right.
like too much. That's also where you can go into the freeze where it's overwhelming and therefore you just can't do any of it. And I get back from doing something that is regulating to my body. And now I'm excited about the things on the list and they don't seem overwhelming at all. And I also know which ones aren't true and I don't need to do.
Hmm.
And so, what I found during the whole period leading up to teaching this somewhat large course was that every time I pendulated and when I start to feel my adrenaline going of like, just, don't have lunch until you finish this thing, don't get the drink of water until you finish this thing. It was like, if I could unhook myself and do something, whether it's like go outside, lay on the ground, put my hands on my heart, do spend time with a friend instead of like, I can't see friends until this thing is over. My work became so much more inspired and the
Hmm.
journey of it became really fun. I grew so much during it because I pendulated between when I'd noticed the urgency arising, unhooking from the thought, I can't do something good for myself until the task is completed. When I
I
come
love
back and
that.
I do
Yeah.
something that regulates my body first, the way I see the task changes. I become more creative. I see more options. There's more synchronicity. And so it isn't that you're going to stop your life altogether, but it is requiring us to every now and then, like notice that that urgency is running us. Is there something good I could do? I've done this with a bath before where I'm like, I can't do the bath till I get all my things done. And I go and doesn't mean I'm going to take a bath forever. It's 20 minutes. And I got out. And again, my to-do list was like, oh, that's actually no big deal.
What I just realized, which is so funny, is, obviously I'm a medical doctor and I deal with the physical body all the time, right? And recently I listened to someone talking about digesting the emotions, right? And we need sleep to digest the emotions of the day and make memories and this and that. But when there's excess energy, right? What you're describing with the emergence, the Gen Z part of the excess cortisol and epinephrine and dopamine, right? There's a buildup of all these neurotransmitters and emergency hormones, and we actually need to take a poop in a sense. If we eat too much, we have to go to the bathroom several times a day. If we drink, we have to stay hydrated, but we also allow ourselves bathroom breaks.
Yes.
This is an energy discharge break. And when it rises, we need to stop and let it out. And then we get back to where we're supposed to be. And so it's kind of a funny concept, but it's digesting the energy and
Yes.
letting it go. And
Yes.
then it can recirculate again. And
It's going to
I'm
be,
sorry for,
it's going to be, no, it's going to be different things at different times, right? Like sometimes
right.
it's this excessive, like my body knew, like, oh, there's this energy moving through, there's this creativity. Don't try to squash it. Don't try to, like, calm is not always the answer. And what helped me do that was just to like get up and write it all out. And then I was able to go back to bed and I
Yeah.
still got a few hours of sleep, after that. And so it worked out well. And there are other times, like when I talked about the bath, where I'm moving into overwhelm, which is closer to freeze, as opposed to
Mhm.
like everything, like moving so fast, it's closer to freeze. And so to actually just take a bath that was slow, but still embodied, and let my well refill a little bit, then I come back and I feel present in my body. And so to describe what I understand a little bit with the default mode network, and you can, update this in any way that feels proper to you. Um, when we are in a state that is high stress, the default mode network in our brain is going to ruminate. It's going to narrow our perception of what is possible.
Right.
And often it's going to, and it's not just the default mode network, but we're going to start to see things that there are two options. And this is what I call, actually, I first heard this phrase from Bridget Vixen's a double bind, which means we see something as like it's either or. It's win or
Mhm.
lose, or sometimes it's lose lose. Like, have to get this done, so I can't go to the retreat. As opposed to when we start to move into resonance, we can go, oh, I can go to the retreat and I can do these things that are nourishing, and I can still spend 5 hours a day writing. And this, and it like allowed me to do the things that I love doing. Like there was drumming at the retreat, and there was, it was just awesome. Some of the things that they had available there. Um, but it was such a balance of pendulating between the two. And as I move out of urgency, the default mode network, when it's no longer in threat, will then also allow me to daydream and have creativity. And the more I move into resonance, the more I have the ability to take small, nuanced step. So it's either you're going to find a third option, a sacred third, where there is a win-win, which when you're in a double bind, it feels like she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's impossible. She doesn't understand my situation. She doesn't understand that I'm a single mom and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and therefore this is not possible. When you do the smallest piece of self-care, maybe your next step is really small and it's slightly different. And slowly over time, you can live into a different understanding of what is possible that wouldn't be possible from the other state. Am I
I
making
totally
sense?
get it.
Am I
Yeah,
tracking?
and it's funny because I've learned it about when you're in survivor mode, childhood mode, inner judge, inner critic mode, you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that caused it. So you have to get out of the mind, back in the body to go to the wise sage self that actually has the experience and the curiosity and the exploration, and it's not life or death. And even when it's life or death, if you're stuck in life or death, true life or death, right? A lot of times you have to get back and allow the body to instinctually tell you, do you run or do you hide? You can't make that decision with the brain. The body needs to do it. Perfect time for us to take a little break. When we come back, Sarah's going to run us through a process of nervous system so we can play and feel all this that she's talking about. My friends, you are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith, and we are on the Inspired Choices Network.
Your Healing Playground is the space where science, spirit, and sensation dance together. Your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith, physician, coach, healer, and play advocate, returns weekly to remind you that healing isn't just about pills and protocols. Western medicine is just one of many healing modalities. True wellness is about energy, emotion, pleasure, and play. On this show, Dr. Tina explores the playground of your body, mind, heart, and soul. From neuroscience to sensuality, from root chakra to real talk. She'll share tools, stories, and soulful strategies to shift you out of fear and back into joy. Because if you're alive and breathing, your story is still unwritten, and you deserve to write it with love. Together, you'll learn to breathe, feel, and play your way back to wellness, because you are your best healer.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Your Healing Playground with Dr. Tina Coopersmith. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to info@womensreproduction.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. You can find me and follow me at drtinaplays.com. I have a masterclass coming up on, I think it's January 25th. Please check it out on the website. And today I have with me Sarah Tacy, and we are going to move right into a nervous system regulation practice for everybody. I want to make sure we have the time so everybody can actually feel the amazing work that Sarah Tacy does. And I would say her work is play and work. You know, she really embodies the nervous system regulation and really helps people feel back into their own bodies to have pleasure, to have safety, to have range. So Sarah, take it away.
Yeah, so what I want to offer everyone today is the opportunity to try 3 different nervous system tools. And the first one that we're going to do is about coherence. It's about really feeling safe in the body, feeling present. And for some people, they start to feel a little sleepy, which often when we tune down the adrenaline, we actually can just feel like, oh, I am actually tired. But other people, it really, like for me, if I'm ever having a moment where I'm feeling isolated or dysregulated or scared, this is one that brings me back pretty quickly. We'll do that one first. We'll follow it up with another one that is a fight outlet that isn't too aggressive. And so it's a nice intro into it. And I have so many people tell me they feel an amazing release from this very simple exercise. And then the last one is a bit more of like a flight. It's like what people would do after a flight, just like shaking out. And so you get to feel these are 3 different exercises, and this is how I feel before, during, and after them. So everyone's going to have a different response in their body. So you get to see which one do I like best, or when would I use this one versus that one, and just experiment. We could say there are hundreds of nervous system tools, things that our ancestors knew, which included dancing and singing and drumming and eating meals together and braiding hair, all of these things. But for our sake, when we're looking for something that's quick, when our nervous system says if it takes too long, that's going to make me more stressed. If we're looking for something that's quick to slow us down just enough that we feel like we have agency, then here are 3 tools that I would love to share with you.
Fabulous.
The first one It's always helpful if you can find your feet on the ground as you're doing this one, or really just locate your sits bones. So where you sit on the seat below you. So whether you're standing or sitting, really feeling the contact points. And then I'm going to begin to slow my words down a bit. You can notice what happens in your body as I slow my words down, and I will invite you to notice the length of your spine. I love hearing the phrase, the dignity of your spine. And then placing both hands on your heart. This is something we do naturally, but when we want to unhook unconscious programming, you can now do it consciously. And so you press your hands into your heart. So it's not even just a light touch. You can really press in a little more. There is an idea that this helps to tone the vagus nerve, the part that says you're safe, that sends that signal to your brain. And notice your breath. And stick with this until you feel your breath slow down and possibly even deepen or widen in your body. This could be enough on its own. What my kids and I like to add is 3 affirmations. It's very important that the affirmation you use is true enough to you. So if you don't feel calm, you wouldn't say, I am calm. But if you now have felt yourself calming down or coming in, you might say, I am calm. I love to say, I am love. I am here. My kids will often say, I am safe. You find a few that work for you, repeat it 2, 3 times. And you could notice how you feel now, like this could be enough. This could be all you need. But if I have time, my favorite addition to this is to now imagine a puppy dog or a kitten or somebody or something that you love unconditionally, that their joy brings you joy. And so now we get to add a little oxytocin to our system. Hmm. And take an easy breath in and an easy breath out. And you can slowly lower your hands from your heart. I wish I could check in with you all and be like, how do you feel? But Tina, how do you feel?
That was great. It's just so lovely, to just be in my body, right? And be safe. And I know, I invite in, I realize that most of my life, I don't think I slowed down enough to know what safe felt like in my body, right? Like I wasn't trained to know or ask the question, do I feel safe, right? And only in my last 7 to 8 years when I've been doing all this work and like massive upheaval in my life and I went down the rabbit hole of who am I and what do I need to be and do and fix and whatever, have I really understood. And I realize, I mean, I now say pleasure and safety, right? Pleasure, play, and safety, PPS, is no longer a postscript. It needs to be the prequel, the prerequisite, right? Because I realize when you're not safe, you can't expand your level of play and pleasure and nervous system, right? So it's kind of exactly what you're saying, but in my head. But I realized that I didn't have the GPS initially to know what safe felt like. And so taking people on a journey, because I know that I see that every day as a gynecologist, women haven't been safe on the planet. And so we don't have the coordinates to put in our GPS system unless we're taken there.
Yeah.
That's what this is doing. This is why this work is so critical. And mind you, women used to help take the children there and the men there,
Hmm.
but women have lost their way.
Yeah.
And so now nobody knows how to get there unless people train us. And so you are training us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's do the other two because this is
Okay.
just
Great.
critical, critical work because we are energy and matter simultaneously, folks. And this is when your nervous system is safe, your body can heal and you won't be sick.
Hmm. All right. I could say so much more, but let's do the second one. I'm going to stay seated because my microphone is here. But if anyone who is listening, if you have the opportunity or the space where you can stand up, please stand up. This one needs to be at an elevate, like on your 2 feet if possible.
Okay, I'm going to try and demonstrate it since you're going to be talking.
Great. Perfect. All right. So you're on your 2 feet. I know this is hard even on Zoom to demonstrate, but it's not that hard. You're going to go up onto your toes and inhale, and just exhale, thump your heels to the ground. Up, inhale, exhale, thump down. Inhale, up and thump down. Ha. Sometimes I love just like the ha to let that energy out too. Up and then thump down. Ha. One more time. Up and thump down. Ha. And then just notice how you feel.
And you
Sometimes
can
I'll
feel the
do,
energy circulating. Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes I'll do range of motion activities where they can measure the range of motion before and after.
Mm.
And I've had people be like, wait, why does my shoulder pain gone from doing heel thumps? But a lot of times, as you said, the inflammation and also just the tightness, even if it's micro engagement, is when the nervous system feels chronically wired. And so when we can get some of the fight energy out, it allows our system to relax a little bit more.
Yeah, and people need to understand that embryologically, all your exoskeleton started from the same cells. And so when we really talk about how your foot is connected to your ankles, connected to your knee and your hip and even your shoulder, it all is connected through your fascia. And literally, I've recently had to do some yoga. Well, I love yoga, but I did it more regularly. It was like, oh, a lot of my aches and pains are going away,
Yeah.
and it's, someone touches my foot and I feel it in my knee. When I broke my hip, I felt it in my knee. I didn't feel it in my hip. It's very fascinating. And the jaw is connected to your pelvic floor. So
Yes.
those of us who have TMJ and tight jaws, there's probably pelvic muscle tension as well. So just I invite that in.
Yeah. So nervous system work is like system wide, right? So when you do heel drops and it changes something, then it's going to change it throughout the system. And as Dr. Tina is saying, our fascial, we have fascial lines that go from our feet up to our jaw, which include the pelvic floor. We have a deep internal line that goes from the arch of our foot through the pelvic floor and connects to our diaphragm, which is how we breathe, which connects to our
Mm.
heart and then to our tongue. So if you think about like the base of your foot, the base of your pelvis, um, diaphragm, and so as heart. I
Oh,
mean, it's just like so
it's
cool,
oh my
right?
God, it's like
So
mind, body,
cool.
heart, spirit in terms of layers of it. But we need to
Literally
take
in
our
your fascia.
break and
Yeah.
we're going to come back and we'll do that last exercise. This is just so exciting to have Sarah teach us about regulating and really feeling the resonance in our nervous system. So remember, folks, you are listening to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Cooper Smith. We are on Inspired Choices Network. I'd love you, love you, love you to share this podcast with your friends, subscribe, give us a review. And FYI, my book, Des- Design Your Playground, Heal Your Life, is coming out next month. So please be on the lookout for that. We are going to go for a short time. Please come right back because Sarah's going to take us through more nervous system regulation. Way to start your Monday if you're listening to us live.
Your healing playground is the space where science, spirit, and sensation dance together. Your host, Dr. Tina Coopersmith, physician, coach, healer, and play advocate, returns weekly to remind you that healing isn't just about pills and protocols. Western medicine is just one of many healing modalities. True wellness is about energy, emotion, pleasure, and play. On this show, Dr. Tina explores the playground of your body, mind, heart, and soul. From neuroscience to sensuality, from root chakra to real talk. She'll share tools, stories, and soulful strategies to shift you out of fear and back into joy. Because if you're alive and breathing, your story is still unwritten, and you deserve to write it with love. Together, you'll learn to breathe, feel, and play your way back to wellness, because you are your best healer. This is Your Healing Playground with Dr. Tina Coopersmith. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to info@womensreproduction.com. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back, my friends. You're listening to Your Healing Playground. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith, your host. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and today we're with Sarah Tacy, expert in the nervous system, somatic healing, energy healing. We're going to do one more nervous system modality, and then Sarah's going to tell us about her new programs and where we can find her. And yeah, let's get started.
Right, I'm so excited. So I don't know about you, but every now and then I will have this feeling that presents as anxiety. And I don't necessarily have a story with it. It's like a feeling in my body. I'm like, oh, and it doesn't feel
Oh,
good. And I know
yeah, it's
anxiety a
on
lot of
excess
times,
energy, total excess
yeah,
energy that's
sometimes
just
it
there.
has a story, but a lot of times what we're finding is that, so much of the information is what's stacking in the body, whether it's history or things that we aren't aware of in our surroundings, something that's happened recently that moves so fast, we didn't realize our body's still holding. So our body is holding on. And if we spend all our time trying to put the mental story to it, sometimes it's a waste of time. Sometimes all we have to do is just discharge the energy.
Right.
So if you've ever seen a video of an alligator that gets a hold of an antelope and then it gets free, what it does is it shakes off and then it goes on and eats grass. And for us, we hold on to it, we make a story about it, we suppress it, we
Yeah.
try to control it. And so, what can be very helpful is to just shake it a little bit.
Right.
Some people say if they start shaking, it can take over, it can be too much too fast. So you kind of figure out like what level of shaking feels good to you. And so if you were listening and you're sitting, you could just start with your hands. I find sound helps so much. So again, you'll hear me often be like, ah, right? And I can shake my arms up. There are so many things right? I can shake out through like the shaking of my chest. And definitely when I'm not sitting, and if I was not on this microphone, I would stand up and just like bounce a little bit like a kangaroo and just shake and like imagine that like I'm moving even from like my hair follicles and just make the sounds. And it doesn't have to take long. So you're like, what is the smallest bit that I can do that has the most benefit?
Yeah.
And so
Beautiful.
if we can slow that down now, and then what is so beautiful about a pause, which I've heard great musicians talk about, in the pause is where you get to feel the integration. It's where you
Yeah.
actually get to hear the music. And so we pause, and I just love how alive I feel and still connected to my body.
Yeah. I had a trauma therapist and she taught me there's called trauma release exercises. And you can do it with a wall sit. And she calls it the feminine way. She does it where you butterfly your legs and you lift your hips and then you squeeze and you sit down and then you move your legs in and you get an like if you do a wall sit long enough, you're going to get an uncontrollable shake. And so you're discharging the trauma she taught me, but you can play with the energy and move it how you want as well. It's just really interesting. So it's the same concept of the shaking really gets the energy that's stored in ourselves to discharge.
Yeah, and we're not always, and this isn't, I don't believe what you're saying either. Like, we're not always going for like, is it going to get me to cry? Is it going to get me to this or that? It's more just like giving little outlets so that it doesn't stack in your body. I can think of a
Yeah.
time where I was just like in a hard conversation with my husband, and I could have gone on and on with the stories. I'm like, I wonder what'll happen. I laid on a bolster and let my shoulders go back because I just know that this tends to give more of a compassionate feeling in my body. I put my hands on my heart and it allowed me, it didn't bypass the process. I actually, like, the tears started coming so I could have time to feel the sadness below the story. And then eventually I felt really integrated in my being and my heart, and then how I could approach for a conversation or for being engaged with the family was so different. And so this
Mhm.
work is not about bypassing, it is about really letting the tidal nature of emotions move through us, letting them be intelligent, but not using our energy to suppress. Or when we go into fight or flight, it's like it just takes over. We no longer have access to our prefrontal cortex, the amygdala is hot and we just feel like we've lost it. And so this work is like, how do we stay in the place where we have choice and agency, which is the opposite of trauma physiology?
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And getting your nervous system regulated is an underlying theme of you having choice to live the life and have the responses to all your experiences instead of reacting. And it will help you get along with others, get along with yourself, and literally be more safe and healthy in your body. We have very little time left. Sarah, I'd like you to promote your new programs or your present programs, and then we're going to have to say goodbye.
All right. So I have a new program coming up and it's called Juice. And the reason why it's called Juice is because if you practice nervous system practices long enough, or you're trying to do pacing and all these things, life can start to feel dry. And even if you're not doing nervous system practices, life can start to feel really overwhelming. And so my question was between the idea of I have to hold it all together or I'll collapse, that's a double bind. The sacred third for me was what would it be like to live into a life that feels more juicy, where there is creativity, where there is resonance, where there is a generative field of I'm not sure exactly what is next. And I had so many people that went through my resource course or did one-on-ones or heard me monthly on Relax Money or other programs. And this is a way that I can show up weekly where we can do nervous system tools, but do it in a way where it includes breath work, movement, um,
So
where
you're going to
people can
keep
feel more the
people
juice
in the
flow.
range and your website so people can find you.
Yes, sarahtacy.com,
There you
SARAHTACY.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Next week, we will be right back. Breath as the steering wheel of life with guest Jonathan Robert. Again, we're talking about breath work. We're talking about nervous system. We're talking about energy because energy healing, my friends, is body healing.
Mhm.
Body healing helps us resource and get more energy, and energy healing keeps our body safe. And so we need to really support the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. Sarah, it's been such a pleasure. I love concept of resonance, not living in urgency, but living in agency, the sacred third, yes, and my friends. I did an improv class last night. It is about yes, and there are multiple paths to the top of the mountain. There is never just one way. There's multiple ways to live in a boat in the ocean, right? So yes, and is your wise sage self. Remember to have a great day. Resource yourself with breath, with shaking, with jumping up and landing on your heels. All of this. Take this out into your day. Live your best life. I am Dr. Tina Coopersmith. You are listening to Your Healing Playground. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. Share us, share us, share us with friends. We just want a happy, healthy,
If you felt
Courageous
something move today, a
ovulation.
molecule, a mindset, or your mood, that's healing. Your body listens to your stories, your thoughts, your breath. So speak to yourself with kindness, play with curiosity, and let your nervous system know it's safe to rest. Dr. Tina returns Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, 8 Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Remember, pleasure is a practice and play is your medicine.